think the world needs a god? Nah, it needs someone who can feel everything and still choose to protect it.
Hi, welcome back to Psalmist Scribe. And I got another video for you today because it's my once a month time to upload a video. Not really, but that's just seemingly how this is working out. So sorry for the slow uploads, but I do have another channel that I keep up with. And, I'm going to try to, prioritize more of this channel. But thank you all for everybody who showed up, who commented on the last video I did. I enjoyed it. So in this video, I'm going to be kind of reacting to someone else's content. I'm going to be putting the link to this creator down below. The video that I want to react to is this AI generated thing, um, which is kind of a debate between two anime characters from two different shows, like Yagami from the anime Death Note and Naruto Uzumaki from the Naruto series. And I enjoyed it, and he has other debates that are on his channel, so go ahead and give it a watch if you enjoy this. But right now, just really want to get into it. So yeah, let's get started.
You believe peace comes from understanding, that you can talk monsters out of being monsters. That's why you let the man who leveled your village walk free. What happens when talking doesn't work, Naruto? What happens when words fail and blood keeps spilling?
Then you figure out why it's spilling in the first place. Pain wasn't born a monster. He was created by war, betrayal, and loss. I didn't talk him down because I'm naive. I did it because I understood what turned him into what he became. You think people are either good or evil. I've lived through proof that it's not that simple.
Broke it? No. You delayed it. Your peace is borrowed time. You forgave war criminals and put them right back into the system that bred them. Me, I cut out the cancer. Rapists, murderers, corrupt politicians, erased. You gave speeches, I gave solutions.
And what did your solution fix? The corrupt system you talk about, it stayed. It didn't collapse because of your notebook. It just got quieter. You didn't remove the cancer. You just killed the symptoms and hoped the disease wouldn't come back.
The law is slow, biased, broken. I did what no one else had the courage to do, punish without hesitation. You think showing mercy makes you strong? You let Obito live after he started a world war. You forgave a man who used children as weapons. You're not merciful. You're irresponsible.
I've faced people worse than the ones in your notebook, and I beat them without needing to play God. You say I'm irresponsible for letting Obito live? That man watched the love of his life die, was manipulated for decades, and still turned back before the end. If I killed him, the cycle continues, but he helped stop the infinite Tsukuyomi. Can any of the names in your book say they helped undo the damage they caused?
I did what had to be done. You talk about hope like it's a solution, like it's ever been enough. Naruto, you were hated, feared, treated like a monster before you even understood what a monster was. And what did you do? You forgave them. You protected the same village that let you starve, cry alone, and treated you like a weapon. You think that makes you noble? No, that makes you a fool.
I never forgot how they treated me, but that's exactly why I had to be better. You think I forgave them because I'm weak? No, I did it because someone had to break the chain. The moment I let my pain decide my justice, I lose who I am. I lose what Jiraiya died for, what my parents died for. You think the world needs a god? Nah, it needs someone who can feel everything and still choose to protect it. You died alone, begging the very death god you relied on to spare you. You didn't save the world. You didn't even change it. You just fed your ego until there was nothing left. I've buried friends, lost mentors, held enemies while they cried, and I still came out of it human. That's the difference. You ran from your pain. I faced mine, and I didn't let it turn me into you.
So right from the start, we see Light and Naruto's goals for their worlds to bring about peace. However, it doesn't really seem like that. There's a true goal. I'd even argue that first Naruto didn't even have that in mind at all. He developed those desires over time. Peace through understanding may not be a direct quote from the show, but it does resonate with how he chooses to live his life. By the time he goes through his fight with Pain slash Nagato, referenced in this conversation, he embraces empathy as a way to promote change to break the cycle of hatred he believes that they're all caught in. Light, on the other hand, decides fairly early on that the world was corrupt and needed someone like him, someone with the power and determination to do what no one else would. Of course, he's not 100% wrong. Whether the world truly needs his kind of solution, however, is a whole different debate. Naruto uses words to beat his toughest opponents, which I think is a smart Naruto uses words to beat his toughest opponents, which I think is a smart choice from a storytelling perspective. He's not the only character that uses this method, what we call, talk no jutsu. But I believe that this works so well because at that moment when we see him, interacting with his whoever his enemy is, we see that his enemy isn't just whoever stands against him, but rather the system and circumstances that created them in the first place. Similarly, Light also believes that a broken system breeds evil. His approach is swift justice, meaning death, no compromise. It's ironic that Naruto tries to communicate with his enemies while critique involves never truly talking to them. There's a line from another anime that some of you might be familiar with, and it just says, the character says, you know, we haven't even had a chance to talk this through yet. And he perishes and he dies shortly after saying that statement. But as viewers know, there's rarely a real conversation. We get demands from Light, Akira, about what he wants and how the world should obey him. Since he sees himself as a god, even declaring that he is justice. Now, it's safe to say that that's pretty insane. Now, justice is a key concept here. People interpret that word differently, especially when justice isn't carried out properly. Usually we mean that something is done fairly, rightly, without bias and with impartiality. Though both characters are fictional and so are their worlds, that hasn't stopped us from forming strong opinions about these hypothetical scenarios and whether their actions are truly good. Some might even side with like Yagami based purely on the results. During his reign as Kira, the crime rate dropped. That is, aside from Kira's own mass killing spree, but I believe it dropped somewhere like, 70% drop. Wars were stopped, and for a while, many people just accepted that this was the way the world was. The show even raises a question that no one wanted to ask. What if he's right? On the other hand, people tend to see Naruto as the winner in this debate based upon the comments, and I admit, so did I. He shows a level of empathy that's simply absent from Light's side. While Naruto didn't end the war before it started, he did win one pretty quickly. We can argue which of them held more power, but only one managed to convince an enemy to bring back people from the dead, even if that wasn't his original intention. And he convinced two people of that, if you want to count Nagato and Obito, even though Obito was prevented from doing that act. These characters couldn't be more different, trust me. One is a genius from a good family with a supportive background and plenty of options in life. Had he not come in contact with the Death Note, he probably would have been very successful in a normal way. He's calculated, very methodical, and from what I could tell, a total sociopath. Meanwhile, Naruto was made an orphan on the same day he was born. He wasn't cared for well, looking to shoot there, Hokage, was neglected and faced some level of abuse from his village, which limited his options for success. Over time, he gains the support of not just those around him, his own village, but even other villages as well. He isn't initially seen as smart, but during the series, he developed skills in tactics and negotiation, and only some of those involve the Rasengan. Now, don't get me wrong, Naruto's approach isn't perfect. It's not meant to be. In fact, when we hear Pain's, his speech after he seemingly defeats Naruto, and then he asks Naruto what he would do, Naruto, I think very wisely, honestly said, I don't know, and I don't have an answer for you, which I like that. Some could argue that he's too lenient, promising people they won't do things again, which dilutes justice. And that's fine. The show does emphasize that atonement is important, but we don't get to see much of that outside of Orochimaru and Sasuke. More from Sasuke than Orochimaru, if I'm honest with you. That's about where I'll stop. Now, once again, I'll include in the video the creator's link below. But tell me, what did you think of the debate? And after you check out the channel, is there any one of those you want me to react to as well? Okay, that's going to do it for today. Subscribe. Take care.
Is it too good to be true? I want this so much, but don't know if I can trust you. My mind's racing fast, trying to find the red flags I'm used to. All these green lights, are they coming too soon? Caught between red and the green.